Hi, I'm Ken Rosenthal, and I'm a park naturalist at Gulf Branch Nature Center, and this is another 5-minute find. Today we didn't have to go far from the Nature Center, as you can see, and we're going to take a look up into some of the trees at what's going on there. As herbivores, caterpillars eat lots and lots of plant material, but not all of it's digestible, so they produce prodigious amounts of poop, essentially. One of my favorite science words is frass. That is a good name for insect waste. So this is some caterpillar frass. This frass that you'll see all along the railing here. In fact, you'll see some flies making a meal out of it. This frass here is how I knew to look up into the tree today. These are Catalpa Sphinx moth caterpillars, and they are feeding on this northern Catalpa. As you can see, there's quite a few all over this tree, and they are doing quite a bit of damage to these leaves. You can see the edge of the leaf is ragged, and that's where the Catalpa Sphinx moths have been eating. There are caterpillars all over every level of this tree, and in some years we have actually seen the tree nearly defoliated, completely removed of leaves as a result of all these caterpillars eating. Caterpillars are the larval stage of butterflies and moths. Their main job is not getting eaten, while eating and eating and eating until they have enough energy stored up so they can go into their pupal stage and metamorphose into adults. Each of these caterpillars will go through about 5 instars, which is a growth stage punctuated by shedding of the exoskeleton. Even though they seem very soft in some cases, like these caterpillars don't have a lot of spines or any other really rough edges, they are still covered by an exoskeleton, and so they need to shed the exoskeleton to grow larger. So when they reach a certain point where they've pretty much grown out of their old exoskeleton, they shed it, producing a new one underneath. And then they continue to eat, and they'll do that about 5 times. And then the last time they molt as caterpillars, they pupate, entering the pupal stage before where they will metamorphose into adults. And in this case, it is the Catalpa Sphinx moth. As you can see, there's lots of damage to the leaves. These caterpillars, as they get bigger, eat more and more and more, and they can do quite a bit of damage to these Catalpa trees. These caterpillars were actually the reason for the first crop dusting ever performed in the United States. The first crop dusting, I should say, with a heavier than air aircraft. Plane was fitted specifically to spray lead arsenate over a Catalpa tree farm in Troy, Ohio, back in the 20s. And they were spraying specifically for Catalpa Sphinx moth caterpillars who were really feeding heavily on the leaves of the trees. The Catalpa tree was being cultivated in Ohio and has been for a couple hundred years, mostly for its wood for fence posts. And so that was a really it was a popular product, and they were losing trees to these caterpillars, and so they decided to spray and see if that could do. So it was the first ever application of a pesticide from a heavier than air aircraft, and again, it was successful, and it was probably the beginning of that industry. But for me, I always enjoy looking for the caterpillars under the leaves of the Catalpa, and right now, because they're so big and because they're still eating and therefore still pooping, if you were to stand under this tree, you could hear their droppings hitting the railing, hitting the wood chips under my feet, hitting leaves of different plants all around. So this is one of my favorite things in summer. I hope you enjoyed my sharing it with you. This has been another 5-minute find, and we hope to see you in the park and at future events. Don't forget that this July we have resumed in-person programming. You can check the Facebook pages for both nature centers for more information, or the web page for Arlington County Parks and Rec. Again, this is Ken, and thank you, and have a great day.